Hey, welcome to Tales from the Troll Hole. I'm your host, Cecil Bee, and together we're going to dive deep into the internet and find what stories there are to be read, enjoyed, laughed at, cried with, you name it. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. Now grab your torch and pitchfork. Let's dive into this troll hole. Good evening. Here we are, another episode. It's the new year when I'm recording this. Could be any time when you're listening to this. Time is relative. It's all thermodynamics. Anyhow, it is the new year, January 2nd, to be specific. And today we're going to talk about resolutions, New Year's Eve parties, coincidences that happened immediately at midnight, all sorts of cool stuff. And I think I'm going to keep doing the on this day in history stuff because that was really fun. And there's so many more frog facts to talk about. I can't get over the frog facts from last time. So let's talk about the New Year's Eve that I had. So I had a pretty varied New Year's experience. We went to a concert, or I guess, you would call it a show, perhaps. And it was nostalgia, cover bands, early 2000s, fun punk rock show. It was really cool. And then we played some arcade games. And before midnight, though, we had kind of enough stimuli and we needed to go be somewhere quiet. So we went to a friend's house and hung out with him and his dog. Had some chamomile tea and some raspberries and rang in the new year. So that was pretty fun. We kind of got best of both worlds. We had fun party time and then we had a nice, chill, relaxing time. And I will say that I greatly enjoyed the Seattle Space Needle fireworks show because the crescendo, the end of it was Hot to Go. And I just love that song. So it was really cool to start the new year with some Chapel Roan going on. So going back in time, I was curious about when New Year's resolutions first became a thing, especially in Western culture. So it looks like, according to Merriam-Webster, that it dates back as far as 1671. And it was from the diary of someone named Anne Halkett, who was a writer and a member of the Scottish gentry. And in her diary, there were a bunch of different pledges, a lot of them that were biblical. Here's a funny one. I will not offend anymore. And the article goes on to say that shortly after the fad of New Year's resolutions started, they already were not being kept and being satirized in newspapers and local writings. So in case you're feeling nervous about keeping your resolution or making your goals, just know that even hundreds of years ago, people struggled with these. And it's perfectly natural and human thing to want to do better. And even if you don't succeed all the way 100%, better is the goal. Better is the goal. So my resolution this year is to continue a physical fitness journey that I'm on. And I'm going to try to make baby step towards that because I know making a big giant goal can seem scary. And if you miss a day of it or something, it's easier to throw it all in the trash can with all or nothing thinking, which is a logical fallacy, I believe. So even if you miss a day or don't get all the way through something, you don't have to scrap it and say it's all over. Just try again tomorrow, But yeah, I'm doing physical fitness and trying to be better with clean eating. And I believe in myself. I think I can do it. Little baby steps. I really think that there's something really inspirational about starting fresh. There's a fresh start in every new year. And the grandioseness of it, like you can think, oh, it's a brand new day. I can do everything over. And that's good too. You totally can. But I feel like there's more ceremony around a year because it's such a long stretch of time, as opposed to every day as a new opportunity, which it is. But still, I digress. But also, if you're the kind of person that just thinks New Year's is just a whole different day and just another stop on the train, then that's great too. And goals can happen whenever, wherever. Doesn't have to be at a whole new year. It could be any day you want. Because again, time is relative. But you know what's not relative? The fact that we done spun around the earth. We're on it. But you know what I mean? Like we done spun it around the sun. Oh no. Am I stupid? I don't think so. New Year's resolution. Don't say stupid stuff as much. Hee. Okay, no, but you know what I mean. We spun around the sun. We did the whole thing. It's been a year. Everything's awesome. Let's start by looking at some wild New Year's Eve party stories. I want to hear all about that. This first story comes from username Tokyo on Reddit. When I was about 6 or 7, I asked what we were supposed to do when it turned midnight. My mom made the motion of doing the toast, but didn't explain or tell me other details. The party stopped for a second right after I threw my champagne glass at the ceiling. Yes, I live an exciting life. What a moment that must have been. The ball drops and smash! Man, start the new year off with a surprise, although raining glass probably wasn't a good thing. I don't know what year this was, but there was probably big hairdos that had some glass to be fished out. I don't know. I'm on the fence about that one. Sounds like it makes a good memory, though. This next story is from a deleted user on Reddit. And a precursor note, this one is from 2009. That's important to the story. My brother got me drunk and put up banners all over the house in the current year and made me think I was just having a dream. He even recorded the last year's New Year's show and put in the DVD, as well as having the stupid 2009 glasses. That is commitment to the bit. He planned last year, the previous year, this prank. I love the dedication. That is very Jim Halpert of him. Wow. I mean, I would be impressed at the effort after I got over the confusion of doubting the nature of my reality. This next story is from user Nomad Bishop on Reddit. One of the few years I decided to stay sober for New Year's Eve festivities was 1 decade ago, when I got into a sword fight a few minutes before the ball dropped. I don't quite remember what led up to it, but we decided that sparring was not good enough and we were going to duel to first blood. Everyone at the party circled around us for the show. I do remember that my opponent was very drunk. I was sort of toying with him, practicing my parries and ripostes, when my best friend's girlfriend screamed. I looked over at her and saw blood sprayed across her face. My opponent went white. My best friend howled with laughter. I immediately began looking him over to see where I'd caught him. It only took me a few moments to discover that my hand was covered in blood. That fucker had clipped the back of my pinky. So as I stood in the bathroom, patching up a fresh katana wound using only Jack Daniels, tap water, and toilet paper, I heard the ball drop on 2004. Happy New Year. Listen, I understand the fact that humanity has an obsession with swords. They're cross-culture and usually having something to do with alcohol. And back when swords were the main mode of damage to people and sort of the main solver of conflict, there was also a problem with finding fresh water, so everyone was fucked up. Every second of every day. Now, you can tell me that the beer was weak or the wine was weak. I don't care. Everyone was fucked up all the time and playing with swords. And so now, even today, when alcohol is involved and there are swords nearby or anything that could be used as a sword, like a pool noodle or a large pillow or a wrapping paper tube, anything at all, we will try to go full on swords with it. We're swording it up. We're going mega sword ski because it's in our DNA. We can't help it. I have been at a house party one time where we threw swords in the kitchen to try to hit the same mark on a door twice. It's just something that you do. I can't explain it. It's just who we are. The next story comes from user Sergeant Wiggles. 1999. Me, my mom and dad, and my older brother just laid a blanket on the driveway and stared at the stars while the new millennium rolled in. That is so nice, especially because everybody was all worried about Y2K a lot, and so having a nice low-key New Year's with your family, looking at the stars, that's terrific. And I want to think that low-key you all were expecting like the sky to just implode or to watch a black hole open right above your driveway in the sky and just suck everything in, everything get all spaghettified. I want to think that that's what was happening, at least in your parents' mind. And then there was just this relief, maybe a suspicious relief when it didn't happen. Like, are you sure? We're good? We're going to keep going? All right. And then just waiting for the whole network to crash and everything. I remember Y2K. I remember not understanding it, but knowing that I should be afraid. It was a wild time to be alive. Ooh, okay, looks like here's another Y2K one, this time from username Carnibus. Not sure if this will be seen, but my best New Year's was that of 1999. I was 9 years old at the time, and I worked together with my dad to pull off the greatest prank in history. A few minutes before midnight, I synced up a wristwatch with the countdown on TV. My dad pointed me in the direction of the breaker, which was in our garage, and showed me the lever to pull, which would cut all power to the house. Now, I don't know if you remember the hype, but the year 2000 was supposed to destroy all of our computers and technology, sending us back to the Stone Ages. So the moment grew closer as I watched the seconds tick by on my wristwatch. It soon became apparent that I wouldn't need it as I could hear all my relatives inside counting down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I pulled the lever at the perfect timing and everything went black. The first thing I heard from my aunt was, "Oh my God, it hit! Y2K hit!" I was only going to leave the power out for 10 seconds or so, but the lever was stuck and I couldn't get it back up for about 2 minutes, during which the whole time I heard my family freaking out, and eventually they looked outside and started to wonder why our neighbors still had power. Thinking back, I really wished we would have recorded this. I probably could have won $10,000. Oh, I'm assuming like America's Next... no, wait. I was going to say America's Next Home Video. I was mixing up America's Next Top Model with America's Funniest Home Videos. Wow, what a wire crossing. Can you imagine if Tyra Banks hosted America's Funniest Home Videos and if Bob Saget hosted America's Next Top Model? What a disaster. Side note, do you all remember when Tyra Banks had a TV show and she had someone do a colonoscopy on screen, like on the stage while she was interviewing people on her talk show? She would just turn around and check in and ask how the colonoscopy was going, and that audience member volunteered for it. Like, you buy tickets to be on Tyra Banks' show and then you have no idea you're getting a colonoscopy that day. Aren't you supposed to like super turbo diarrhea for like 3 days before so that you're empty? And so this lady's just like full of turds, just sitting on national TV with a tube up her butt. It's so weird. I don't know if I've talked about this in another episode already, and I will probably talk about it again because it haunts me and I wish I could unsee it. The next New Year's story comes from username Rainy Day Ninja. My brother ate an entire tray of Oreos by himself, and later that night he was vomiting pure black. My other brother walked in on that while half asleep and thought he was having a nightmare. I need to know how old these brothers are, because what an interesting core memory. Because that's a good horror movie trope, is like if someone's possessed, they're like vomiting black ooze, you know? And so what a horrifying experience to start the new year with. Oof. And for the other brother, too, being so sick. So sick on Oreos. I've definitely eaten so much candy that I puked in my sleep, though. I'm surprised I was still alive, honestly. Because that's dangerous to barf in your sleep. Don't do it. This next story comes from Foley Matt. Friend's wife slipped off the back of our hot tub and got wedged between the hot tub and the house. Almost had to call the fire department to get her out. She was so embarrassed she tore her ACL in an attempt to get herself out. Alcohol was a factor. It was -10 out that night, so we had to keep pouring hot tub water on her so she didn't freeze to death. What the fuck? How awful. Because oh man, she must have felt so bad emotionally and physically. And can you imagine being hungover with a torn ACL? Ugh. The next story comes from a deleted user. I leaned in to kiss a hot stranger at the strike of midnight, and surprisingly, she went for it. But she puked in my mouth and all over my face. Projectile puke, to be accurate. It was awful. Fuck New Year's. Ugh. Ugh. Ugh, for everybody. Ugh. Okay, let's switch gears now and do some on this day in history. Now, I'm going to do the ones for January 1st because that sounds like more fun than January 2nd. And these facts are from the Britannica, Encyclopedia Britannica. In 1735, on January 1st, Paul Revere was born. The British are coming, Paul Revere. Isn't that interesting? January 1st, 1804, Haiti declared its independence from France. In 1808, the United States made the slave trade illegal as the act prohibiting the importation of slaves went into effect. Note, slavery continued in the country because of the way that people are. Ugh. In 1863, on January 1st, the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect or was issued by Abraham Lincoln. In 1895, J. Edgar Hoover was born, soon to be creator of the, not correct creator, but director of the FBI from 1924 to 1972. Interesting. I never really think of these historical people that had an effect in modern day as being alive in the 1800s. Like, that's wild. Like, he was here in 1972, bruh, and he was, like, born in the 1800s. Time is relative and not real and not cyclical and not linear. I don't know what it is. It's a Klein bottle of moments. New Year's Day, 1902, the first college football game was held, and it was University of Michigan, and they defeated Stanford in what is now known as the Rose Bowl. It wasn't an annual event until 1916, though. Ooh, classic American author J.D. Salinger was born on New Year's Day in 1919. I have never read Catcher in the Rye. I don't know why. Maybe I'll listen to it. And in 2011, on New Year's Day, the Oprah Winfrey Network debuted on television. I don't know why that's funny to me. It just feels like not as important an event as all of the other ones. Although it is cool that she has her own network. It's cool, Oprah. I take back the giggles. It's cool. Once again, we are going to switch gears. I kind of like this doing whatever I want thing. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm going to have kind of like a theme-ish, and then I'm going to do, oh, whatever the fuck I want. Haha. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to find a gibberish word generator. And then kind of like what I did if you listened to the episode about terrible recipes from the past when my sister was on. I don't know what number episode it was, but I made up a word and I had her make a pretend ad for it. So I'm going to do that because that was fun and I want to do it now. So I'm going to come up with a gibberish word. Hang tight. Okay, I found soybomb.com/tricks/words, and it's a nonsense word generator. This is terrific. Okay, so the word that I picked, it like makes this huge list of words, and I just picked the first one that stuck out to me, and that's crumpets. Cropats, Cropats, or crowpats. We'll see how it ends up going. Okay. And this is what I'm saying now. I haven't pre-done any sort of ad thing. I'm just going to make it up. Okay, here we go. Here at Crowpat's Nursery, you can find any plant that you could possibly grow in a hydroponic zero-G setting on the moon. We have sundurias, we have plimpies, we have dorgles, and of course, we have cloggins. And don't forget that you can sign up to become a Crowpats Insider and get deals on the latest crivets and smivets. Thank you so much for being a loyal member of the Crowpats Insider team, and we'll see you for next week's big sale on Cubans. Again, that's Crowpats Nursery on 63rd and 99th on the dark side of the moon. Ta-ta! Outstanding. I don't know about you, but I'll take 5. I'll take 5 crapets. I already forgot it. I would love to have 10 of them, based on that ad alone. Wow. All right, let's get into some frog facts. Man, I am so ready to learn more about frogs. Let's leap into it. Hee hee. Okay, I'm using the same source as last time for these frog facts. This is the American Museum of Natural History website, amnh.org. This is in the section of Surviving Extremes. The wood frog can live north of the Arctic Circle, surviving for weeks with 65% of its body frozen. This frog uses glucose in its blood as a kind of antifreeze that concentrates in its vital organs, protecting them from damage while the rest of the body freezes solid. Jesus Christ. This is nonsense. Incredible, beautiful, fantastic nonsense. Let's continue. The Australian water-holding frog is a desert dweller that can wait up to 7 years for rain. I beg your froggiest pardon? 7 years? It burrows underground and surrounds itself in a transparent cocoon made of its own shed skin. This is upsetting. How fucking cool this is. I will never understand. Like, I have chills right now. That's how angry and amazed I am at the same time. Why am I angry? I don't know. Probably because I don't understand it. And I don't know math, so I won't be a biologist, but I will appreciate the fuck out of it from over here. Damn it. Frogs are freshwater creatures, although some frogs, such as the Florida leopard frog, are able to live in brackish or nearly completely salt waters. It would be Florida, wouldn't it? Would it not? Does that entirely track for you as it does for me? Let's talk about poisonous frogs, shall we? Many poisonous frogs, such as the golden poison frog and dying, as in like D-Y-E-I-N-G, dying poison frog, are boldly colored to warn predators of their dangerous toxic skins. Some colorful frogs, such as the Fort Randolph robber frog, have developed the same coloring as coexisting poisonous species, although their skins are not toxic. These mimics may gain protection from predators by looking dangerous. They've got the Hells Angels motorcycle jacket on, but they are just little softies inside. They're just feeding people's meters and enjoying a nice cup of cocoa. Wow, that is so funny. They're just acting dangerous, but they're really not. They're just hiding in the protection of looking scary. That's fantastic. Our last fact today is about mating and hatching. So here's the gastric brooding frog of Australia swallows her fertilized eggs. The tadpoles remain in her stomach for up to 8 weeks, finally hopping out of her mouth as little frogs. During the brooding period, gastric secretions cease. Otherwise, she would digest her own offspring. You just burp up your own children, fully formed, ready to be one with the world. They literally come out of your stomach. How do you eat? Do you just not? I'm asking these questions to this frog, knowing full well that she will never answer me, and no one will ever answer me, because even if I do get a scientific answer, chances are I'm going to be so upset at the amazingness of it that I'm not going to fully comprehend it. It's going to take some time to digest, like a fucking tadpole frog that's going to jump out, fully formed, ready to frog around town. We have to end this here. I can't keep going like this. Why do I do this to myself? Why do I get so hopped up about frogs? No fucking pun intended. Unreal. Also, side note, sometimes I think to myself, yeah, I could turn this into a podcast that is family friendly. And then I start talking about frogs and I cannot contain the curse words because I'm just so full of emotion. Unbelievable. Well, that's it for this week, friends. Next week, I think we're going to talk about birthday parties and cool things that have happened on birthdays, because it was just my birthday a couple days ago. And I love birthdays so much. So we're probably going to do that next time. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. And if you have a story that you want me to read, I don't just talk about frogs and read Reddit. Send me a story on Instagram. You can hear all about it in the tail end of this episode. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to Tales from the Troll Hole. I'm your host, Cecil Bee, and this show is produced by me. Our theme song is by Vervex. They're a great band. You should give them a listen. You can stream them anywhere. They're also on TikTok and Instagram. Remember to subscribe so that you don't miss out on a single episode. And also find us on Instagram, and then you can send in your own stories. I just ask that they're true and that they're not going to scar somebody for life. You know what I mean? Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.